everyone, it's your favorite FGC VTuber out here playing some SMT. So I just got done watching the video by Spetsanus. I don't know how to say that fucking name. But it was just occurring to me because we were talking about the Switch, and you say even like, 480p for a camera, or $90 is crazy, right? And it agrees. And I was just thinking like the whole thing is that when people talk about the whole Switch, I mean, you guys already seen the title, is that the inflation thing in the first part, I would get that. The biggest thing is that that's a load of bullshit, because when people go to the prices, they was, oh my god, they cost more. First things first, they go to something that's years ago. That's not even more relevant than it is now. It's cheaper to manufacture and everything, and things have changed when it comes to technology. And that's the first thing, right? It's truly not a fair comparison. It's basically like, you can't compare pre-2000s to 2000s. Those are completely different eras. Like literally a new decade. So that's retarded. Second, this is an era where technology was considered like not even just a privilege. Like, bro, the only rich people can have. And this is actually, I did something personally when I did in high school, just so it was fun, like a little almost like self report, or a little self experiment. You know how people tell you to do or whatever a school project. I did it just out of pure curiosity, and I seen the common trend from whether they were low income, they were good or average. One of my teachers is Mexican. He's been here for a good while. Another one, he's of Irish descent. Another one's regular American. And a theme I heard commonly, including with my own father as well, and he was really good at getting stuff, is that things like this were always seen as a rich people thing. And you always played at your friend's house or someone everybody knew that had a shit ton of money, or if you were lucky, you would get it from a raffle or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, very few people who were of average wealth had and owned a console. That's what we need perspective on. And this was a super common symptom I'd seen against with people that were older, who were around that era, right? Especially like Atari and whatnot. And the other thing, and even then, it still stayed around even through N64 ever and anything. Like I remember having an N64 when PS2 was around the fucking corner and shit kind of thing, right? So I can attest that it's like, yeah, no. And as far as owning a game, that was way out of the conceit of a kid, And the other thing is too, especially as kids, here's the thing, right? Here's your competition, especially when games are in the games aisle or in the kid toys aisle, is fucking. You have to choose between, okay, this toy, this little thing, and all those things were always like $10, $15 most, $25 max. That's where you knew. Then you saw a game for, if you were lucky, $45 fucking dollars. That was already an ask. Imagine 50 or fucking 60, bro. That shit's crazy, bro. Actually fucking crazy. So, and that's where I see that the era is different. So the thing is that when they compare an N64 game to now, like, and even if let's take inflation into account, so they actually paid more. Well, yeah, no shit. It's a goddamn rich people privilege. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right now, gaming is come to a state where it's no longer a hobby just for rich people. And I've even said it before, like, people who don't complain about Switch prices right now, it's like how to say I'm privileged without saying I'm privileged. Like you expose yourself as having clearly too much money, or you live in your mother's basement kind of bullshit. And mind you, because you hear this from everybody else, and in our, we have, a dude who, you can see it in the chat, but in his thing, Mar from the viebcast, and that man's a full ass adult growing and shit, and he's the main target appeal in a sense for a Switch. Motherfuckers who got kids. Ain't no motherfucker who got kids paying for that shit. That's too much. And even me as a hardcore gamer, like, bro, the Switch is like an afterthought, bro. It's like, okay, if I can get it cheap, sure. That's how I got this Switch, right? And even then, I got the games, like, I've never paid more than $45 for a Switch game. Hell no. Fuck no. It's all about market and demand. That's the last thing I do want to get at. That's the most important thing. But when people make the whole argument about, oh, you're actually saying, like, dude, no one cares how much money you're saving this and that. Also, game expenses were well, actually, I would say PS3 era changed that. But now, trust me when I say someone who's actually indie developer, it's so much easier and cheaper to develop games. Most of the extra cost comes from, you as a developer and how much you invest into the product. That has nothing to do with the consumer and why the game should be priced a certain way. That's such a dumbass thought. It's the same thing why when GTA is one of the most expensive games of all time, and that game still came out in 60. So, bullshit. Like, oh, the game of prices, that ain't got shit to do. Loadable. And, yeah, but that's one thing, right? We're talking about fucking, let's see. So that's that shit. Oh, wait, no. But what got me interested was, okay, I realized that the price for everything's higher. Like, he made a good point, the Spitnaz, about fucking everything. It seems like everything's priced a bit higher. Like to me, like, no. I said before, like when people look at the price, they gotta think of perspective. Don't think of it as like, oh, this money, this, that, whatever. It's like, think of this as that, bro, I am paying half of $100 for a fucking controller, right? And that's my minimum, or a game. You don't think of it all 45, like even $45, like, bro, you already go like 45, like, bro, that's half of $100. Remember, $100 is a lot more than. But now it's like, oh no, it's if you ask me, it's like all evenly priced.
Marlimmer.
You're telling me inflation is.
I'm odd at gamer with a gamer wife and kid. Convenience is vital in my hobby. This is a hassle in terms of price.
Literally. So the main demographic is obviously families, and they're fucking themselves over on that end. And me is whatever. And here's the thing that I was making at earlier, is that in Japan the Switch is cheaper. So I always thought the Switch, so that makes sense, right? They're compensating and making the Joy to not $100 for Joy-Cons is crazy. And same a little bit with the games. That they're compensating. Okay, so Switch is they're probably breaking us. No, they are making profit, right? But not as much. They're eating some of the tariffs, which, by the way, as it turns out, the tariffs aren't going to eat into it as much because it doesn't apply to electronics. So Switch got kind of lucky for that. But it's because of the fact that that to compensate for like the system being a bit cheaper than what it really is. It's like, okay, I can kind of believe that. But to me, what destroys that notion is like, isn't that why we pay for online? That's the whole reason that shit exists, is to compensate for the fact that, like, good example with the well, not the PS3 much, but maybe the 360. Why it's so pricey is because, oh, we are forcing you to pay online, and that's gonna help eat that we eat the cost for the system. So to me, moving your money to the fucking peripherals is stupid because motherfucker, people already pay for online. The only way this would make sense as if your system was strictly like an offline. But like, no, this, here's the thing. If you buy a system and it's an offline only system, more than likely you're broke as shit. There's no, dude, $100 is already a shit ton to you. Like, genuinely, that's already a fuck ton of money. Like, that is something you can get once a fucking year. Because that means that there is not enough, like, either you can save enough each, let's say you're lucky every month you could save up to 100. That means, okay, for 4 months, oh, I could go buy a Switch or some bullshit. Or you can use that in your internet. And then from there, oh, it could be in a year. Let's say, okay, so I spent 80, or maybe that's probably really cheap, right? So let's say $45. Because you'd be surprised how much internet shit costs here. But, like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, then all you can do is, okay, I'm just going to go buy a Switch. You can barely buy games, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're penny pinching, you can barely buy the Switch. And then on top of that, as an adult, like, are you really going to be spending all this huge-ass budget on a fucking system, bro? You got way more important shit to do. I mean, hell no. Like, everyone makes the same point. Eggs, milk carton. And people who don't, again, further proving that they're privileged as fuck, it's like, dude, in Japan, the Switch is cheaper by, like, a good bit. People are still fucking complaining over there, dude.
Marlimmer.
Still fucking complaining.
I genuinely am fine with the system cost, but the games and accessories are a hard no.
Now, to me, I think I'm hard set that the price is still definitely too high. Because at the end of the day, because I know from a tech perspective, okay, I could see the price being kind of, especially with like this and that. But again, only if online if they weren't charging for online. And honestly, even then, their service past the base is overpriced. So that statement kind of null and void. Because no, seriously, the R&D for this stuff is expensive. Like, I genuinely know. So I can kind of defend I can defend it from a R&D standpoint and whatnot, and if you're trying to make profit. But from a consumer standpoint, it makes absolutely no fucking sense. Absolutely no sense. You know, genuinely. Like, you can't sit here and charge, fucking, how much was it? You cannot charge for profit on the system. Then charge extra to compensate for whatever profit loss you have, and then also charge for online. You're literally triple dipping. You are triple dipping, bro. That's the crazy thing. You are fucking triple dipping. Like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, so those are the things I wanted to get point across.
Would I spend $450 on a PS4 now? No, but I do appreciate that Nintendo is a family system that I know will last 10 years.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Like, the quality is gonna be. I mean, the first Switch. Okay, they made a lot of mistakes. 2 seems to rectify those mistakes. But at the end of the day, even and then the worst part is, like, imagine paying, like, because at the end of the day, it's all relative to your competition. The Switch will have its niche and whatever. Like, this is the problem. The only people right now the Switch appeals to are families with a lot of money. Like, these are the people I served at when I did taco trucks. Those people are gonna have Switch. I'm not gonna see the average kid I know. They're not gonna have Switch. Like literally a family I mentioned before that I knew, kids and whatnot, working dad. They barely had a fucking Switch. Barely. Outside of, and dude, you know how out of, like, this is what's so crazy to me. I've seen what the average person is actually like. The average kid, like, bro, Like, maybe they'll go to them, their rich friend is the one who has a PS4, bro. We're talking about PS4, not 5, not a PS Pro. No, the only motherfuckers I know is when I went to these rich people's house, oh, we're gonna buy me a PS5. Meanwhile, out here, kids like, oh yeah, PS4, and everyone goes to that one kid's house for fucking PS4, and the parents will low-key fucking share Plus so the kids can play Fortnite and they'll take turns and shit. Like, that's where we're fucking at right now, and that's considered the rich kid. Everyone else gets lucky, because especially, like, old school parents, they'll buy them, like, a Nintendo, and they'll just wait till I buy at a swap or some bullshit, right? With some bootleg-ass controller and then buy shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people out here legit, like, if you guys are wondering why it's so hard to find, so I kind of seen it, it's kind of hard to find shit out in the wild for, like, Switch and even a handful of people, more Switch, because, bro, them parents be quick. Because, dude, fun fact, a lot of people use Facebook Marketplace, and man, they're quick to snag up, like, a good fucking deal, bro. Like, these parents are fucking quick. You know, like every now and then you see people going to the GameStop, but the only time you see, like, literally, every time I go, I see mainly PS4 aisle. And you can tell enough by the way someone dresses, and you can see these people, you know, either the race, Mexican, black, whatever. You can tell, like, okay, they make a decent amount of income. They're either working a really hard job or they make a nice one. Like, you see the Mexican dude, you know, he's doing some hard construction, or it's a black dude and like, fairly decent. So, like, okay, he makes some decent money, right? You know? And even then, maybe you might get a bootleg person here and there. And in their whole thing is like, oh, no, you could get one. You can tell, like, okay, you know, they only get one game, and it's either one of two. Either they get, like a PS4 game they've been wanting, or a stack because it's a sale, or they're like legit, like it's the Switch, and if that's for sure the only thing they have, right? Like, I noticed the kids will either have one or the other. Something very rarely do I see anyone have both. Like, genuinely, I think I've only one time seen when a parent came into a GameStop and they had like both and shit. And man, they had like, I think 3 kids or something like that. And even then, like, oh, okay, you could tell they were a lot. Like that is the average experience, you know? Like, these people don't have that kind of money. They gotta share and all this other shit. But fucking, I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. What was we met? I mean, I don't know. Also, Mara, I just realized that you're in here. Yeah. I guess you were tired of like. But yeah, no, I was just saying, like, the Switch part just doesn't make sense from a consumer standpoint.
Because a lot of it makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
First, they're telling us, oh, Mario Kart World is going to be
$90 on physical.
$90. And then it's, oh yeah, the new Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be $70. It's like, wait, what? How are we doing the prices? And then they bring up, oh, if you already own Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you are going to be able to buy the upgrade to them. From what I hear, it's $30. I don't really see anything that's changed from that. But in order for you to, quote unquote, upgrade your Switch game that you already currently have, you can just come into the system and play, for you to be able to play 60 frames, 4K version of Blockbuster, it's an extra $30. That's,
I mean, it's just apparent greed. Anyone who says otherwise is crazy. And I forgot
that's crazy.
And the whole point of this video, guys, is that the fact that, like, people will look at it, said you're looking at an entire different decade. You're looking at a time where video games were far more. And the thing is, too, I forgot to mention, dude, video game pricing was experimental as fuck up until the PS2. Like, once people settled for like 40, 45, that's when they finally did settle. And mind you, that stayed. They said that was fair in PS2 era. And I actually vaguely remember. And it's weird that we transit, like, it's crazy that people forget that games should have and actually have been, and even if not cheaper, we've seen it a bit with the Wii too. Like, how many bargain bin games did we see, like, for $20, PS2, or even Wii and shit, right? Because that's the prices, and we see it too. The market has changed.
There's an entire section for games literally called greatest hits, and all of them would be $20.
Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 20 and 45 were the prices for games back in the day. Like, that's the real prices of games. Because I remember, it's Alex. He's like, he was already against games going to 60. I'm like, I didn't know this. And it's funny because we just legit expected it so much because it was the 360 era. The funny thing is, in there, that one was kind of more valid. Inflation was, this was crazy. Inflation was nowhere near as bad then as it is now. And look at how much they raised it, bro. By a whole $15. And then people only gave it a pass because, like, I mean, let's keep it real. The gap from PS2 to 3, massive. 3 to 5, fuck no. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at a PS, and people want to say this bullshit. Like, no, it is. I talked about it why indie games will sell. You look at a 2D pixel game, you're like, bro, that shit's cheap as fuck. You know, you just can't escape it from your mind, especially if you grew up with this shit. You're like, and it's true. At the end of the day, it is easier and it is cheaper to make a 2D platform, and then 3D, and then lower graphics, bro. Like, this is why, to me, I feel to a degree it was fair to the developers early PS3 360 because it was hella expensive. That's why we stopped seeing as much shovelware. But as time passed on, I mean, we saw it with the Wii itself, we started getting more shovelware, and same even with the Switch. Like, honestly, I'm thinking if they, like, I think it was kind of fair for games to be, I think they should have dropped it, or at the very least, if they were still going to keep that price point, I mean, it would have been smarter if, like, I mean, they kind of did it right, like, oh, here's the Oblivion greatest hits, whatever, you know. I think some of the re-releases made sense that, okay, we're gonna charge the same price, but now we're throwing in all the DLC and shit like that. I think that was kind of fair. But the problem is here's my problem, where, like, it's still on them. The fact that you charge 60, sure, we have, quote, better graphics, and we've seen the whole thing is that, dude, we had way less content. And that's why, like, to me, it's like, it doesn't matter how good your game is. What matters is content up above everything else, and that's where PS3's like I would.
That whole game was basically just enjoyable, not really, but they made us pay $40 just to play it. Not that many people actually played it. It's actually a fairly easy game too. Like, there's really no such thing as hard mode in there, unless you're like you just don't play. Like, that's the only way the game can work. And then even looking at the Xbox One was what was it? Rise Son of Rome. There we go. And even though that game is a launch game, and like they kind of played as a tech demo as well, because it really did show off the graphical power and the fidelity that the Xbox One did have. At least that one was a little fun, but now if you look at the Switch and Nintendo in general, the way how they ended up doing their tech demos, like for example, when the Wii came out, what happened with Wii Sports, it was absolutely free with the console itself. And now we're looking at the Switch 2, and they're having this basically Astro Boy coming out for the system. And it's $10 on that because it's like, how much work are you getting with just for playing a tech demo? And it's literally just a tech demo. Like, the sole purpose of it is literally just to try stuff out. Like, oh, here's what the Switch 2 can do. It can do this. And when you're done, that's it.
Yeah, no, you made a very good point there. Man, I forgot what you made me think of when you said all that, actually. What was I trying to get at? Like, what did you start it off again? Was that rant off? What was the beginning? Or do you remember?
I started the rant at the fact that the prices are kind of just wonky in general. Just on the idea, even to demos themselves, shouldn't really anything at all. New Switch, it's clear that they have going on with the console. Like, that should just be free with this. Wii Sports was free with the system itself. A lot of people
right.
when they went out and they bought a Nintendo Wii Sports was in. Like, right. You had the game seller right there. It was like, you didn't need anything else.
Yeah, like, and like, remember what I told you? It goes back into what I said, that people are gonna save money. They don't have spare money to buy another fucking game. You know, and you know, but and you said Rise of Rome. Here's the other thing that proves the point is that I think games that focus on graphics too much. I mean, that's why I give Nintendo, at least their games are actually fun and last long. No one talks about Rise of Rome later on because it was it was a showcase. Same with Star Wars Battlefront was a better game, but it also had the same problem. Like, dude, to this day, Star Wars Battlefront is the only next gen looking game. People still felt ripped off. Like, that's why I feel like PS3 wasn't just like, dude, you guys should have just made glorified PS2 games and put more content. People would have been more happy, even with a $60 price point. Because like, another good game was that PS4 opening game. Like, that game should have been 45, not 60. I forgot what it's called. I think, The Order. Cool, but like,
yeah,
like, no one wants to pay $60 for a glorified demo. Like, that is something that should be very evident. I think people would rather have worse graphics and more gameplay than better graphics and no gameplay. And again, the peak of, again, every game you notice that people would complain. The Order, Rise, Son of Rome, Battlefront. These games were giant, and even like I said, oh, it's cool. But like, I literally felt ripped off. Like, I couldn't help play this and be like, this game should have been 45, bro. You know, and mind you, it's just a subconscious thing, right? Same how we will look at a 2D game and be like, that's not worth more than 20. You can look at the best looking game ever, but if its gameplay's mid as shit, you will feel ripped off, bro. Like, you will feel ripped off. You know, ain't no bullshit in that. And that's something that this is what people can't get through their fucking head. You know, it's not about it. You can make as much sense of things as you want. It's all about how does the person at the other end feel. And guess what? Most people feel ripped off. That's just the honest truth. for a little bit about
When
that.
it comes to graphics over gameplay, a lot of people kind of forget that there are games out today that don't look like the best looking game of all time, and yet they're outselling games that are at premium price. Like, if you want a perfect example, I could point to Schedule 1 right now. Schedule 1 on Steam is still the best-selling games on Steam. Just because it's $20, it's like a Roblox game, and all you're doing is just enjoying your time playing. It's literally, like, yeah, it's basically a drug dealer thing. Yeah, but at the same time, you know what you're buying because the gameplay is addictive. It makes you want to play more. And over time, you're going to have more of a value on that versus a game that just came out recently, like, I don't know, let's say Forspoken, or what's coming down the line right now. We have Marathon coming out in September, which, by the way, is the dumbest time to even out because it's coming out in the exact day. Borderlands 4, ridiculous. It's ridiculous to say that that game is actually going to outsell a Bungie game. Like, I never thought in a million years that Bungie would die from a game.
You know what's crazy though? That I had it again and I lost it. Let me try to get it. Fucking damn it! I lost it again. What was it? Damn it! What did you start this combo? See, it's always what you start with that gets me going, and then I lose it after you're done for some reason. Like, I don't know. What's wrong?
I'm back there. Jeez Louise. Sorry, guys. We're over here to make me crazy. And by the way, impromptu. But no, the conversation started from like because you started talking about graphics, and I only remember that it's like graphics in general. That like even like your average consumer isn't really looking at it, so just making the gameplay. And perfect example of that being Schedule 1, being right now one of the most popular games on Steam still.
Oh, okay.
And it's been up for over a month.
I remember now. So the whole thing I was gonna say is with that this is the one good thing the Switch does have, that it being underpowered. And like I said, every game should pretend to be like it's developed for the Switch, and that should be your bottom line. And that's why like PS4 still being around is good, because yeah, these graphics aren't getting better. That's the first thing. And then on top of that, it's like you can just focus on what makes the games like you. This is where Nintendo 100% has leverage. Is like you know the games are gonna be at least. I mean, I said it before, they are mid, but here's the thing: at least you're definitely not getting your money's worth either. But like in terms of quality and fun and content, like okay, you know you're decent, right? Like that's. And again, much like Baldur's Gate, that should be the bare minimum. You know, like that's the only thing that you can say it has going for it. That's where the Switch, like, to me, it's not even like the Switch. I gave it shit because it was super underpowered, but they did listen and make it easier to develop for. They always get props, but for sure the Switch is like, as a portable device, it's amazing. Like it really is. Like I think of the Switch more as a portable device that you can dock. But them putting it as a console that can also be portable, it doesn't work because it's just really underpowered. Like that's why the Switch 2, and this is where it doesn't make sense. Like $450 for a system that's basically a portable PS4. And it's like, okay, you make sense when you look at the PS4, it launched at $40, and this is what. But then you realize, dude, the PS4 launched more than 10 years ago, and it being portable, like an extra 50 is fair. But like, what's the PS? You could get PS4s right now for 200. To me, I always looked at the way the Switch didn't make sense. You look at the competition. Why would I pay 300 to 400 when I can go get a used PS4 for 200 or a brand new PS4 and with more games? And on top of that, it's just the better system, like in every way. Even if you are a family, like, you know what I'm saying, people will go to Switch because it's something they default to. But if you're a gamer, you're gonna get your kid either an Xbox or a PS. You're not gonna, like, if you do, you get a Switch because it's like, I notice people get it because they grew up with it. They'll go out of their way. That's how gamers are. You know, you gotta at least experience like the Switch, or you know, all the way I can have the PS4 free, right? But what I've seen from my you know, like people who are, it's very rare to find people who won't give their kids a PS4 and a Switch. Like they're either, like, from what I noticed, they're people who are not game. They're around our age, not full gamer, but they're also like not like a complete noob. And even they're like, yeah, no, like they know enough. Like, oh, dude, I'm gonna buy this for my kid. You know, he can play COD. And he's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll be like, you know, and because I know so many like this, and they'll be like, you know, it's like whatever. Nah, you know, I got this. You know, like they don't get a Switch later. They always get a PS4 first, because they're like, oh, it's something I know I can play, and it has more games I know my kids will play. Like they know, because they were kids and they remember playing. Like, man, I don't give a fuck about Mario or Pokemon. I played fucking COD. You know, they you know what I'm saying? Like they were like they played game, but they're not like hardcore gamers than you. But you know these motherfuckers. Like I said, dude, I know he got his kid fucking Call of Duty. He's got Mortal Kombat on that shit. You know. Like you ain't getting. Well, I mean, technically you do got Mortal Kombat on the Switch, but you know it's like, yeah, no, you just, What it really is, and that's what is the competition, right? That's why we live in a marketplace where you can compete. It's not about, you know, this was, again, everything makes sense on paper. Like, you know, 400 I think is more fair. I mean, honestly, I feel like the Switch 2, like a really good price definitely would have been 300. Like that, everyone. Oh, that's golden, right? 350. Okay, not too bad. 400. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, it's all. Yeah. But yeah, you gotta see what the competition is. Like, why would I spend? Like, you asked me, it's basically 500. Which like I could just either buy a gaming laptop. It's strong, you know what I'm saying? Like from so many perspectives, and then on top, you know, remember if you're online, more games, emulation. Especially if you're a gamer, there's no reason to get a Switch 2 over a gaming laptop. That's free. But as a casual consumer, I could just literally, like the dude said before, you know, oh, you can, for the people like that, there's 360. Bro, you can literally buy a PS4. But like, oh wait, no, you could just buy a Switch. Just buy the Switch 1. You know, like the only people who are buying a Switch 2 are people who already buy a Switch. Which, to be fair, it's quite a bit, or PS4. But like at the same time, these same people already want to get their hands on a PS5. So that's the thing, is you are actually competing with, at best, the PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, which are also cheaper than the Switch. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like like people are saying, okay, it won't be as bad as the Wii U. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe. I thought it was gonna be like, okay, I can see some point, maybe, because I think what it is, like sales wise, it will definitely do better just because people know it exists. Money too here, but we're looking at percentage. I think it's about the same, because all it is a handful of people, like cucks and families with money, which is a huge minority. They're like maybe max 10%, because gamers and the average consumer is not gonna buy that shit. And again, now that I really talk about it, the competition, why would I buy Switch 2? Oh, let me go to a pawn shop, get a Series X, get Game Pass. All right, kids, let's go home. You know, like that is an omega flex. That's why, to me, this generation, the Series, it objectively, like, if you have a Series, man, you're fucking winning, dude. You are.
I've been on third-party markets, and I've seen people selling their Xbox Series. It's like the mainline one for like $200.
Literally,
and it's actually barely ever used. And the reason why they ended up selling their Xbox is because essentially their whole family is PC, so everyone just plays on PC. But when like, if you're really looking for like that casual sit on the couch and like play your games experience, obviously you're gonna be able to from the cheap and with the quality. Like, oh, you could sit there and complain about, oh, there's no real games to really play on the Xbox or the PlayStation. I would argue it's fair. A lot of the games that are supposed to be for the systems don't really work as well. But at the same time, you can still get a lot of points from previous generation. And on top of that, not everyone's going to be able to stick on top of that regardless. So you have some of the niches, premium, it's right to be able to play every. It's the Xbox Plus, every single one that's 30. And you're only playing it for $20 plus tax, depending on where you are.
And like I said too, like, you just realize the irony is I'm playing SMT5 on the PS5. Like, see, and this is why, like, if you're at least somewhat gamer and you might have seen, you'll experience it, right? Is why it also, okay, why would I buy a shitty Switch 1 or 2 when you know what I'm saying, like SMT5 or Breath of the Wild, like, dude, those games are so good. Like, even right now, like, this game looks amazing. And I remember when I seen the Switch versus the PC emulated version, I'm like, it is a sin to play this game at 480p, sub 30. Like, no, and now I'm playing, you know, like, right now, the PS4 version doesn't even like that. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, gaming is an art, and you're not experienced, like, if you are playing on a Switch, the fact that you are handicapping yourself from truly enjoying the experience is a fucking sin. And that's why, to me, I think the Switch's underpoweredness is, like, that's its real flaw. It's because at the end of the day, like I said before, like, right, whatever, it's just that the fact that the Switch is just too underpowered for the era of gaming that we're in. Like, had the Switch came out, like, if anything, if the Switch came out instead of fucking the Wii U, then okay, that would have been perfect. You know, literally, like, oh, you're like slightly stronger than a PS3 and easier to develop for, and PS4s, like, that would have been the perfect time. But I do kind of want to wrap this up, you guys, for the video. And the main thing I want to get the messages at is that for as much things can make sense, so even if you think in your mind you're right, whatever, that doesn't matter. The consumer at the end of the day is always that counts, right? That's why they say, oh, it's all about what you perceive as value, you know. And there are an objective truths you can't deny, right? Like again, if people are gonna sell a system for $200, like, they're okay. Like, And mind you, every time they say this, they say, "Oh, you know, I think the main excuse I always hear all the time. Oh, I don't even really play it that much, and I could use the money." Like the fact that people like, you know, what I'm saying, like you're losing 200. You know, they didn't think ahead of time, but people apparently need the money that fucking bad. They're like, "Fuck it, I'll get the 200 now, and I'll pay 200 again later," right? Like so you basically paid for a whole system, you know, because it's whatever. But like that's the real indicator that at the end of the day, the market right now, I mean, it's I love it when people bring it. People have to decide about either groceries or a game, and that's where I says is the only time is if you fanboys or whatever want to be right, whatever. You have to admit that gaming now is a rich person's hobby. You have to fucking admit that, because the way everything is now, it basically is. These things are priced like they were for rich people, and the economy right now, like I said. Oh, do I buy a game? And mind you, let's pretend games are $20, not 45 or 50. People still have to decide, do I want to buy groceries or do I want to play? Like, that is where we're fucking at, bro. Like, I tell people all the time, open my wallet, where's this money for me to buy this game? I would love to see it. You know? Mind you, I don't have it that bad thanks to my new job, but had I not gotten this job before, shit started, like, that was the exact situation I was basically in. And at the end of the day, as an adult, you gotta save money. And especially if you got kids, you know? Like, people, like, see, this is why, again, you know what it is? You fanboys, you're out here, you're stuck literally in the same position. Like, you don't get the, you know, you've been stuck in your mother's basement for 30 years. You don't get the idea of, oh, you know, maybe I don't want to be here for the rest of my life. You know, so that's my treat on them. Because at the end of the day, the funniest thing too is the people that fanboy the hardest. If you ask me, maybe you agree. It's people who are like semi-mid class, either low or mid, and then they'll want to call other people broke. Like, you know, it's the same thing like I said before. I'll go back to the PlayStation dumbass who said, "Oh man, if you can't buy a PS5, you're a broke. Oh, PC gaming's too expensive." Like, homie, the PS5 Pro cost about the same as, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, either you're broke or you can't be both. And that's the same thing in these Nintendo fanboys. Like, bro, I see you in your mom's basement. Like, you shouldn't like, you know that you count in 4K when a Switch player and a PlayStation player, like, oh, it's not that expensive, but yet you're gonna sell your previous system to get the new one. That sounds pretty broke to me. And this is coming from a dude who, from what I'm seeing, apparently I make less money than y'all, yet every time I get a new system, I never sell the old one. I just buy a new one. Because I'm like, oh, this is another system I could use for... So like I said, Mamar, I might loan in my PS4. I'm like, hey, cool, whatever. Like, because why wouldn't you? You know, as a true gamer, I like to collect shit. And on top of that, oh, this is something my brother can play. Oh, this is something my sister. Oh, my homie needs to loan. Like, to me, there's too many bonuses. And again, the same thing with... This probably explains why I'm not as broke as y'all, because I actually understand how money works, and I'm very good at saving it, and all this other shit always happens as a kid. Because I've been true broke. You gotta be smart with money. Either when you're true broke, either you're smart enough with your money where you get out of poverty, or you just stay in it. Clearly, I'm of the latter. And it's like, yeah, sure, they sit there and do whatever, but it's like, why would I lose $200? And you know, and then get this one, and then it could be a like. To me, that's why I said I don't. It doesn't make sense. Like that's why to me, if I ever do sell stuff, generally it's at 75%. But I make sure you get your 75%. You know, like no. I treat my shit good. Like I you know, like half makes sense if you have kind of money kind of thing. But if you don't, people will always try to be 75, 80. But the problem is most people who are broke, like they'll give you some bootleg ass shit for 80%. You know, like it's funny. Poor people will overcharge you. Rich people will undercharge you. Because like, yeah, the standard is half. But that's like, homie, again, it really depends on the product. Like, I mean, obviously, if it's something like let's say like a PC, like I think systems, it makes less sense to do half. Like, I mean, that's why to me it's always like I think it's like, dude, even if it's scuffed up, whatever, like, dude, for the most part, it's fine. That's why, like, I think GameStop prices aren't too unfair. That's when you go to get pawn shop, you're like, oh my god, half, you know, it's like shit. And again, you're definitely getting less than half. Like, you pay 400 for a system, you're definitely getting at least maybe 200, right? And then they get their 150 profit if they're really lucky. But yeah, that's the whole thing I'm trying to get. Anything you want to add to that, Mar?
No, in all honesty, I think everything hits pretty right. Hit the nail on the head with pretty much every subject, so we're good.
Yeah. And remember, you guys, every day is great when you chibi, booga booga, ooga booga. And guys, go check out our viebcast. I might put a link below. I just, yeah, you know, I mean, we already talked about the Switch again, but I was like, nah. And I'm gonna hopefully I put a thumbnail where you guys can see, like no, games actually costed 40 fucking 5 max. Like, I just hate that they bring up this thing as like, oh, then how come you don't bring up PS2? Like, that's the only time games were fair price, like, was the PS2 era. 45 was fair as fuck.
Remember when like limited edition games were like $50? Remember that?
And it's crazy, I almost forgot. And dude, even 45 felt like a lot. Granted, I was a kid, you know, everything seems more expensive when you're a fucking kid. But like I said, and you know, these fanboys, like, you guys are all broke. Like, to me, it's just crazy that you guys want to fake beat. Like I said, because the main thing is, two types of people say, oh, you're a broke boy. It's either people who are actually broke themselves or people way too rich that they're out of touch. And those are the last people I'm going to hear that I'm fucking broke from. And I know damn well you console fanboys, like I said again, if you weren't broke, you would not sell your last system to buy a new one. Dreamcast guy. You're not broke as fuck, you know?
Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask you. What do you feel about Nintendo making the choice to add the GameCube catalog to the Nintendo Switch Online, but gatekeeping it for only if you purchase a Switch 2?
Question, and I clipped it while you put it. I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid. Because no, I mean, again, they're just greedy. Like they could have genuinely just put that. Like, there's no reason it can't be on the Switch One. Like, that's the number one thing. So they're like from a business standpoint, it makes sense. Okay, how are you gonna get people to new shit, right? But obviously, again, like I said before, it doesn't matter what you think is a business. It's like, okay, how is it for the consumer? For the consumer, no, it's mad bullshit. There's no reason the Switch One can't emulate a GameCube, right? And then the whole control situation is even stupider. That's how, like, man, like, it makes me, if anything, this makes me want to get a Switch 2 even less. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'll just emulate it. Because it's like, bro, this is so annoying. Like, you guys already fucked over my USB adapter. The 8-bit, like, dude, I'm sorry. We just don't want to play your shitty-ass Nintendo controllers, bro. Like, your guards is so trash, especially with your drift. I'd rather get an application that lets me use my Series S Pro controller instead of your garbage-ass, shitty... You know, it's like, again, overpriced. Like, bro, to me, this Xbox Series controller Pro got for $90 feels kind of fair. Kind of. Not fully, but kind of. Only because of the back pedals in a sense, and even I'm like, feels a bit much, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this feels more worth 90 than the shit they're charging, bro. Because, like, I'm sorry, bro. That shit's trash, bro. Like, just to me, like I said, things should not cost. I'll always think in the relative of 100. 50 is already a lot, right? And especially for a controller, like, imagine, you know what I'm saying? Imagine paying that much, bro, just for a game or a controller, bro. Like, systems make sense, right? Because that's the whole point, you know? It's a big piece of tech and everything. But, man, like, that's why, like I said, I wasn't a fan of games being 60, and I'm not a fan of controllers being 60. That's genuinely too much, bro. You know? Like, why the fuck? It's just too much. But, yeah, they're clearly fucking people over. Like, there is no reason for that. It is 100% a ripoff. I don't even then those things are overpriced. Wait. Last thing, I don't know if I mentioned before. You know the emulation on those things isn't perfect, right?
Oh, that's the crazy part. It turns out that all the games are basically going to be running on emulation anyway. So, oh, and all your past games, if you have like any digital like Switch games, apparently those are going to be running on emulation on the Switch 2 as well.
And that's the thing though that people don't understand. Like, bro, very few games natively run like on a console. Like the only ones that did was the PS3 because it natively had PS2 hardware. But like, dude, everything it's all in emulation. That's I hate when people don't understand. Like, the second it's not on the exact hardware, that is emulation. Like, literally, they are pretending to, because these things are designed for insert system. The only time it isn't is literally PC. Outside of that, 9 times out of 10, unless you're playing a PS3 or the Wii, fun fact, those are the only systems where they were not emulating. They natively played it. It was those two systems. Outside of that, everything is emulated. Everything. How good the emulation is up to the quality of the emulator itself, which the Wii also did emulate. I mean, it's funny because the game. I mean, I'm not sure about GameCube, but I know Wii definitely. Again, their Virtual Console, that was an emulator. But if you put a GameCube game, that natively played it, 100%. Because the Wii was literally just an overclocked fucking GameCube, you know, from their units that they didn't sell, which is hilarious. And yeah, no. The problem is like, I'll say this much: the N64 emulator already kind of sucks because there's a delay, and fucking playing Pokemon Stadium is busted because of the input delay that makes some games unplayable. So not only do you have to pay extra for the Switch 2 version, and it can easily be emulated on the Switch 1, the emulation is gonna be garbage. It's gonna be, you know, you are literally paying more for an you know, that's it. Yeah, you like, I get PC gaming can't be fair, but especially for like, you know, parents, like, hell no, they're not gonna fuck with that shit. But as a gamer, again, just go buy a gaming laptop for 400, 500. The same one I got, pretty decent. Probably get it for 400, you know, at a pawn shop, and upgrade it for a couple $100. You could just play on Dolphin, bro. Just fucking play Dolphin. You know, it's not that hard to figure out how to make your GameCube games, download them, the ROM, and put it into the GameCube. It really isn't. It's so easy right now. And on top of that, it's portable. And on top, you don't have to pay money. You could use your own copy of the disc and play with whatever controller you want. Like, Nintendo's just doing their own thing. They literally are in their own corner doing their own thing. Because compared to the competition, they suck